Hey everyone, and welcome back to Old Charles. Have you ever gotten a quarter in your change, glanced at it, and just tossed it into a jar or a parking meter without a second thought? What if I told you that a completely ordinary-looking quarter from a specific year, a year millions of us lived through, could be hiding a secret worth thousands of dollars? This is a 1983 Washington quarter. It's one of the most common coins in circulation. But within this specific date, there are rare, legendary errors and varieties that coin collectors are desperate to find. We're not talking about a few extra bucks. We're talking about a potential payday of $500, $2,000, or even $15,000. On-screen text with dollar amounts pops up dramatically, $500. $2,000. $15,000, ***. In this video, we're going on a treasure hunt. We're breaking down everything you need to know about the 1983 quarter. We'll cover the super common ones, the rare valuable ones, and exactly what to look for. So, grab your coin jars and magnifying glasses, because by the end of this, you'll know exactly how to check if you're sitting on a gold mine, or, well, a copper mine. Screen splits. On the left, a clear, high-definition image of the obverse, heads, of a 1983 quarter. On the right, the reverse, tails. Soft, informative background music begins. First, let's talk about what makes the regular 1983 quarter. After 1964, the U.S. Mint stopped making quarters out of 90% silver. So, your 1983 quarter is part of the clad series. Animated graphics showing the layers of a clad coin: copper-nickel outer layer, pure copper core, copper-nickel outer layer. It's made of a pure copper core sandwiched between two outer layers of a copper-nickel alloy. It has a reeded edge, those little grooves on the side, and it weighs exactly 5.67 grams. The Philadelphia Mint struck over 673 million quarters that year. The Denver Mint struck over 617 million. So combined, we're looking at over 1.2 billion 1983 quarters. That's a lot of coins. Because of these massive numbers, your typical, worn, circulated 1983 P or 1983 D quarter is worth exactly 25 cents. If you find one in brilliant, uncirculated condition, it might be worth 50 cents to $1 to a collector. So, the vast majority of these are just face value, but, and this is a huge but, the U.S. Mint wasn't having a perfect day every day in 1983. And that's where the magic, and the money, happens. Music shifts to a more mysterious, suspenseful tone. The screen shows a side-by-side comparison of a normal coin and a double die coin, with the double die version glowing or highlighted. This is the big one. The coin that every modern era collector dreams of finding. The 1983 double die obverse, or DDO Extreme, super macro close-up of the inscriptions on the obverse of a coin. The host uses a pointer to circle the doubling.so. What is a double die? It has nothing to do with the coin being struck twice in the press. The error happens much earlier. The master hub. Coins. If the hub shifts slightly between impressions onto the die, it creates a die with a doubled image. Every coin struck by that faulty die will have the same doubling. For the 1983 DDO, you need to look at the obverse text, "In God We Trust," and "Liberty." Split screen. Left side shows a normal, "In God We Trust." Right side shows a clearly doubled one. Arrows point out the doubling, especially on the G, "In God," and the R, "In Trust." On a true 1983 DDO, you will see clear, shelf-like doubling to the south and east of the letters. It's not a shadow. It's a distinct, separate, secondary image. This is a famous and valuable variety. Music becomes even more dramatic. The host leans in closer to the camera, speaking in a hushed, excited tone. Now, hold on to your seats, because we're moving from the rare and valuable to the virtually mythical. I'm talking about the 1983 mule quarter. A large, bold text, "Mule Quarter," appears on screen. Then, side-by-side images. A normal quarter reverse and a Roosevelt dime reverse. A mule, in numismatics, is a coin that is struck with obverse and reverse dies that were never intended to be paired together. It's a Frankenstein coin. The legend says that in 1983, a very small number of quarters were accidentally struck using the obverse of a 1983 quarter and the reverse of a 1983 Roosevelt dime. A mock-up graphic shows a quarter's head on the left, and a dime's tail on the right, merging into one coin in the middle. Think about that. A coin the size of a quarter, but with the eagle and torch from a dime on the back. Because the dime reverse die is smaller, these mules also have a broader, flat edge without reeds. Close-up shot comparing the edge of a normal quarter, reeded, and a smooth, broad edge. For years, this coin was considered an unconfirmed rumor. But then, in the early 2000s, an example was discovered and authenticated by PCGS. It's believed that only a handful exist. So, what is a 1983 mule quarter worth? Screen shows a single, staggering number, $15,000 plus. If you were to find one of these in your pocket change, you could be looking at a sale price of $15,000 or more. It is the ultimate modern era coin. Now, the chances of finding one are astronomically low, like winning the lottery low, but it's a story that reminds us to always check our coins. Host is back at the table with a pile of coins and a jeweler's loupe. The music returns to a more practical, investigative tone. Okay, let's come back down to earth a bit. While the DDO and the mule are the superstars, there are other, more common errors that can still add significant value to your 1983 quarter. Shows several examples of off-center coins from 10% to 50%. This happens when the coin blank isn't centered perfectly under the dies. The value depends on how far off-center it is. A 10% off-center might be worth $10 to $20. But a 40% or 50% off-center strike, where part of the design is missing, can be worth $50 to $150 or more. The key is that the date must still be visible. Show a broad-struck coin, which is larger and thinner than a normal quarter, with a flat, often wire-like rim. This occurs when the collar die, the thing that holds the blank in place and creates the reeded edge, fails to activate. The coin metal spreads out freely, creating a larger, thinner coin with no reeding. A nice broad strike can be worth $20 to $75. Extreme close-ups of coins with die cracks, lines on the coin's surface, and cuds, a blob of metal on the rim where a piece of the die broke off. As dies get old and worn, they can crack. Coins struck through these cracked dies can have raised lines. A minor crack might only add a small premium. But a cud is a major error, when a chunk of the die breaks off completely. A coin with a major cud can be worth $30 to $100. Sits with a lamp, a magnifying glass, and a few 1983 quarters. A how-to graphic appears. Alright, you're motivated. You have a jar of coins. Here is your step-by-step action plan for hunting 1983 quarters. Just pull out every single 1983 quarter you can find. Look for both P, no mint mark, and D, coins. This is the most important step. Use a good magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe. Look closely at "In God We Trust" and "Liberty." You are looking for clear, notched doubling, not a smudge or machine doubling. If you think you see something, look up images online of the confirmed 1983 DDO to compare. Is it the right reverse? Does it have a large Washington quarter eagle, or does it look weirdly small? Does the edge feel smooth and broad? You're checking for the mule. Is the design centered? Is the coin misshapen? Is there a blob of metal on the rim? Run your finger around the edge. Is it reeded all the way around? Is it worn smooth, or is it sharp and lustrous? A valuable error in uncirculated condition is always worth more. The quarter dollar, a staple of American commerce for over 230 years, has undergone significant transformations in design, composition, and purpose. Its journey from a precious metal coin for a nascent nation to a common piece of clad change and a canvas for national parks and influential women is a fascinating reflection of American history. The quarter's story begins with the Coinage Act of 1792, which established the United States Mint and the decimal-based system of dollars and cents. The quarter dollar was one of the original denominations. A small, scrawny eagle surrounded by wreaths. These early coins were minted in very small quantities, only 6,146 in 1796, and were physically large and heavy by today's standards. They were made of 89.2% silver and 10.8% copper. They were not intended for widespread public circulation but rather for larger commercial transactions. This design, by John Reich, featured a liberty wearing a cap. The reverse eagle was made more robust. This era saw the introduction of reeded edges to prevent clipping, shaving precious metal from the coin's edge. This was the longest-running design of the 19th century, created by Christian Gobrecht. It depicted liberty seated on a rock, holding a shield and a pole with a liberty cap. This design went through several minor modifications, including the addition of the motto, "In God We Trust," on the reverse in 1866, following the trauma of the Civil War. Named for its designer, Chief Engraver Charles E. Barber, this coin featured a head of liberty facing right. It was part of a uniform design change for the dime, quarter, and half dollar. A dramatic shift in design, created by Herman A. McNeil. It depicted liberty standing in a gateway, holding a shield and an olive branch. The initial design, 1916 to 1917, famously showed liberty with one bare breast, which was considered controversial and was later covered in chain mail. Another key change was the addition of 3 stars under the eagle on the reverse in 1917 to represent the 3 countries the U.S. had fought in war to that point: England, France, and Spain. This is the design most people recognize today. It was created by sculptor John Flanagan to celebrate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. It was originally intended to be a one-year commemorative issue. However, it was so well received that it became the standard design in 1934 and remained virtually unchanged for over 60 years. From 1932 to 1964, the quarter was struck in 90% silver, making it a coin of intrinsic value. The year 1964 is a watershed moment in U.S. coinage history, especially for the quarter. Due to a severe coin shortage and the rising price of silver, the U.S. government decided to remove silver from dimes and quarters. Starting in 1965, quarters were made from a copper-nickel clad composition, a pure copper core sandwiched between 2 outer layers of a 75% copper, 25% nickel alloy. This is the composition still used today. To discourage hoarding, the mint continued to use the 1964 date on all quarters struck in 1965 and 1966. This is why 1964 dated quarters are incredibly common despite the date. After 67 years, the U.S. Mint began a new chapter for the quarter, transforming it from a static symbol into a rotating canvas for American history and culture. This wildly popular program released 5 new reverse designs each year, honoring each state in the order they ratified the Constitution or joined the Union. It sparked a massive public interest in coin collecting, numismatics, and made checking your change a national pastime. Following the success of the state quarters, this program featured designs celebrating a national park or other national site from each state, territory, and the District of Columbia. This current program celebrates the accomplishments and contributions of prominent American women from a variety of fields, featuring reverse designs honoring figures like Maya Angelou, Dr. Sally Ride, and Wilma Mankiller, announced for the upcoming semiquincentennial, 250th anniversary, of the United States. This new series will feature a modernized obverse portrait of Washington and a common reverse depicting George Washington crossing the Delaware River. These coins never entered circulation. They have no wear from being handled or spent. Their value is determined by the quality of their strike, luster, and the number of contact marks, bag marks, from being moved in mint bags. This is the standard for quality. A sharply struck coin with outstanding eye appeal. Only minor, inconspicuous contact marks are allowed. The luster must be full and vibrant. This is the grade most collectors seek. A common 1983 quarter in a certified MS-65 holder might be worth $5 to $10. These are virtually perfect coins. They have a sharp strike and full, brilliant luster. Any marks are minuscule and visible only under magnification. The difference between these grades is microscopic. A modern coin in this condition is rare because it survived the minting and bagging process without significant marks. It can be worth $50 to several $100s, even for a common date. A coin with no flaws visible under 5x magnification. It has perfect mint luster and no contact marks. This grade is exceptionally rare for older coins and still very difficult to achieve for modern coins due to the minting process. A perfect 1983 quarter could be worth $100 or more, the first signs of wear appear on the highest points of the design. For a Washington quarter, focus on Washington's hair *** above the brow and above the ear. A worn coin will have flat, merged hair strands. A mint state coin will have sharp, detailed strands. The shoulder of his coat ***, the lines on his epaulet will wear down, the eagle's breast ***, on the reverse, the eagle's breast feathers are a high point and will wear smooth. This is the key to identifying an uncirculated coin. Tilt the coin under a single light source. If you see a cartwheel effect, a shimmering, radial band of light that moves as you tilt it, the coin is likely uncirculated. A circulated coin will look flat, dull, or greasy.